is Jacob, and you're watching my show about literature, and only literature. Robert Howard's Conan the Barbarian follows the adventures of the titular character as he struggles to acquire and maintain his kingdom of Aquilonia in the fictional world of Hyboria. These tales are related to us through a collection of short stories which function very much like fragments from a much larger epic narrative. In fact, while the stories maintain a very distinct individuality imparted by the author, there's a very clear sense of an antiquated style in the way that Howard establishes his characters and setting. I wouldn't go so far as to say that they are Homer-esque, but they do have a particular familiarity about them. This is especially true for the battle depictions, where both authors spare no expense in relating to the reader all of the gruesome details in such terrifying beauty. Here's an excerpt from the 8th book of the Iliad. As he spoke, he aimed another arrow straight at Hector, for he was bent on hitting him. Nevertheless, he missed him, and the arrow hit Priam's brave son Gorgythion in the breast. His mother, fair Castianera, lovely as a goddess, had been married from Iceni, and now he bowed his head as a garden poppy in full bloom when it is weighed down by showers in spring. Even thus, heavy bowed his head beneath the weight of his helmet. And now from Howard. As he sprang from the wall, his axe dropped an outlaw with a severed shoulder, and the terrible backhand return crushed the skull of another. Swords whined venomously about him, but death passed by with breathless margins. The Cimmerian moved in a blur of blinding speed. He was like a tiger among baboons as he leapt, sidestepped and spun, offering an ever-moving target, while his axe wove a shining wheel of death about him. Both authors give us vivid accounts of battle violence, albeit with different motives and subtexts. Homer's focus lies in exposing the individual tragedy of war by revealing the humanity of the combatants. Howard's focus is revealing the individual struggle of Conan against overwhelming external conflict. Those who fall before his sword remain nameless for the sake of illustrating a larger menace. So while their literary style is similar, Homer and Howard's intent are entirely different. Obviously, Howard employed this method of writing to invoke a classical feel into his work. To further enhance this aspect, he also chose to weave elements of history into his fictional universe. Various ethnic groups, such as the Picts, coexist alongside the Atlanteans and the Lemurians. In a detailed and highly convoluted backstory, he established their origins and histories which span many thousands of years. Howard relates to us that, when I began writing the Conan stories a few years ago, I prepared this history of his age and the peoples of that age, in order to lend him and his sagas a greater aspect of realness. And I found that by adhering to the facts and spirit of that history, in writing the stories, it was easier to visualize and therefore to present him as a real flesh and blood character rather than as a ready-made product. This is probably one of Conan's most enjoyable aspects. The best stories are those that mix truth and fiction, and these tales are no exception. In a strange world of supernatural powers and ravaging barbarians, it's helpful to have a base of reality that you can set your feet back on if you find yourself lost in the narrative. Now, I'm sure you're wondering how the stories compare with the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and you can bet your pants that we're going to burn that bridge, but we're not going to do it right now. We're going to hold off on that analysis until the last video of the series. For now, I think it's essential that we examine the text before we jump into the film adaptations. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe button. And feel free to ask any questions and comment on this video. Stay tuned as we take a look at the classical depictions of heroes and see how they stack up against Howard's Conan. Peace!